sin gives rise to sin consciousness. Which gives rise to the feelings of shame. And the feeling of shame is a heavy or weighty feeling. Sin is the root. The shame is the fruit. But it functions by consciousness, or we could say awareness of sin. However, righteousness gives way for a righteousness consciousness, and that, instead of giving you the heavy feeling of shame, gives you the lifting feeling that comes from the mercy of God. Now, the reason I use sin consciousness and righteousness consciousness is I want you to think of this word here, and the word is forefront. It's what's at the forefront of your thinking. It's what's first place in your mind. When you have a sin consciousness, the things you have done are at the forefront of your thinking. Sin-conscious people have what they've done at the forefront of their thought, good or bad. Sin-conscious people say, well, I went to church this week, paid my tithes, and didn't cuss the parking lot attendant out on the way out of church. I did good. Sin consciousness makes you think about what you've done good. Here's the problem with thinking about what you've done good. When you mess up, sin consciousness puts your mess up right at the forefront of your mind. But righteousness consciousness doesn't put what you've done at the forefront of your mind. It puts what Jesus has done at the forefront of your mind. And those who have what Jesus has done at the forefront of their mind, they experience liberty from shame. Why? Because when I need a miracle and I need to see my rent paid at the last possible second, if I'm sin conscious, I go to God and say, God, I need you to come through for me. And all I can think about is where I messed up and what I said wrong and how I hadn't been the dad and how I hadn't been the mom, how I hadn't been the best pastor. And how, God, I can't even pray because I've got me on my mind. But when I need a miracle and I need to see something happen in my finances and I'm thinking about what Jesus did on that cross, I have ultimate faith that God will come through. Why? Because I'm mindful of what He did instead of what I did. But if you're ignorant of God's righteousness, you go to try about do it on your own. Maybe if I do this and this and this, God will be accepted. Here's the thing. If you're trying to be accepted by God and you're born again, come up with another plan, because that mission's over.